Welcome back to Captain of Industry Update 3, where we've definitely made quite a lot of progress. This over here, right, this used to be a coal mine. We emptied everything, there's no coal left at all, and we filled it up again. Similarly over here, this used to be an iron mine. We emptied it, and now we're filling it out again. There's still some work to be done, but it is already great progress. I have also in between, the end of the last episode, continued to expand my population. We're now almost at this full, quadrant here. There's just one more. So we are almost at 3,000 of population. We have also built a whole new place here and there. So we're gonna talk about this. But first, I want to talk about food. Because one, we have unlocked some new food, and two, as you can see, I have upgraded some of them to the next level. This used to be the irrigated farm. Now we have over here the greenhouse. And I want to talk in this episode around those greenhouse. Are they even worth it? Because I actually think they are not. Or, obviously it depends what you're optimizing for. But they are not in all scenarios, let's say. So let's talk about this definitely. But before we talk about if they're worth it, I do want to mention that realistically you will anyway need some, because some production, like the fruits, they are not possible. If I try to put it over here, you will see it says it is not possible. This production here of fruits is not possible in an irrigated farm. You need a greenhouse. So this is why those three over here have been upgraded to greenhouse. And instead of doing, the wheat plus vegetable, we're doing wheat plus the fruits. So then it goes, on the belt at the bottom, like everything else, right? And then here we used to have just the vegetables going this side. This is full, a couple of vegetables just arrived, great. But now we have a second one, right, that is for our fruits. And so our fruits are going here. Now we are not yet making a lot. You can see there are 6 here, but if we look at our city, we have actually some reserves, right? We have 800 here inside the actual food market, and we have also over here some reserves that are starting. So we're definitely making some enough, right? And this is mainly through the fact that the demand for vegetable used to be, let's say, something like 27, 28. Now the demand for vegetable is only 16, and the demand for fruit has replaced part of this, right? It's 12. So this is why it's easy to actually kind of just change, I changed vegetable to fruit. I didn't need a new farm. So that we have done, and as you can see, obviously, again, this is giving us even more unity, 0.3 on top to be precise. We have also 2 other new food there. We'll talk about them just after. First, let's talk more about these greenhouse. So what happens? Let's actually even look at the description, because they do explain it pretty well. It has a 25% increase in crop yield compared to the basic farms. This one over here. Here we already had a bit, but it will require 12% more water and fertility. And the fertility is really the important thing. Because for the water, you can see that basically if we say we're getting 25% more for only 12% more water, it's actually better, right? For water, this is actually better. So the sort of, if you wish, production, for example, of potatoes, right, will be higher per water. So if we look over here, my potatoes, with this irrigated farm, no fertilizer, right? We're talking about no fertilizer at this point. Requires 38 of water and will produce 5.2. Now with the upgrade to greenhouse, we're gonna move from 5.2 to 6 potatoes, and we're moving from 38 to 43 of water. So the increase in water is really less basically than the increase in potatoes. But the key thing is that the soil fertility has also decreased. So if you look over here, my soil fertility doing nothing, right? Just having the change between potatoes and corn, my fertility stabilized at 63, right? All the time. Versus here, it has decreased to 59 already. And so, sort of my average production is lower. Obviously, if I were again at 63, okay, I can't go to 63. I can go to 60 or 70, but you get the point, right? I would get 25% bonus this would increase by 25% only if I manage to give even more fertilizer to keep my fertility stable. And so the reality is, if you look in terms of people, this is not worth it. Like, this is 10 people for 5.2. Here we are at 16 people and we've only increased to 6. So it is not worth it at all for the number of people. Now, obviously it is worth it for space, right? Because I'm using the same amount of space, but I'm getting more of food. But if you have a lot of people, it is, in my opinion, humble opinion, actually better to have more irrigated farms than have more greenhouse if you are not using fertilizers. If you're using fertilizers, it's fine. You'll just have to use more fertilizer and then you will get more out of this greenhouse. So for now, we will actually keep all of these as non-greenhouse because I haven't really started a fertilizer production, right? But yeah, we have at least started to give to my people all of these fruits. And now let's talk about the two missing one, wrong button here, the snacks and the cakes. So if you look at the cake, there is only one recipe. So in some ways it's pretty easy, you don't really have a choice. We're gonna need to take some of the flour. Good thing is we're already making quite a bit of flour over here, right, for my bread. We're gonna need to take some eggs that we're making over here in my chicken farms, some fruits that I just talked about, but then also two new things. We have the sugar and we have the cooking oil. If we look at the sugar, this is actually sugar cane plus a bit of water to make the sugar. But as you can see, this is blocked right now. I haven't actually unlocked that production. That production is over here. It will require the next research lab. So I'm not too sure why they unlocked, this one so early, because we can't really do it. Similarly, remember the other thing we need is the canola oil or cooking oil, which you can make with canola or you can make with soybean. It's actually a lot better to make it with canola, but we haven't unlocked the canola. So I could theoretically start this one, but again, given that we don't have the sugar, actually I can't really do it. And then we actually see over here that we have the other production, the snack. Now there is two ways to make snack. One is with the potatoes, one is with the corn. This will also require a couple of other things, but I do want to mention two elements here. The first one is, you can see we're not making the same amount, right? We're making 24 for the corn and only 18 for the snacks. Additionally, 24 corns and 24 potatoes it's not really the same. Like if we go back again to this one here, you can see that in a normal farm, if I just put potatoes and corn, I will actually make more corn than potatoes. So this recipe of corn is definitely, the one I would suggest. It's a bit better. You're making more, plus it's easier to make corn if you wish. So that's the one we're gonna go for. It will require again this cooking oil, a bit of salt, and last but not least some plastic. So we haven't started this production because one, we weren't making plastic yet, and second, cooking oil, right? I'd love to get the canola. And actually I could even unlock the canola research if I can find the seed. I haven't been able to find the seed yet, which is strange because we have definitely done a couple more attacks. So it must be hidden in one of these. Maybe let's go. Oh no, this is, wait, why can't I go? Oh, maybe my ship is in repair. Yeah, my ship is being repaired. Okay. Oh, I know what's happening. I think I forgot to put this like that. Yes. Okay. So they're going to repair the ship and then we're going to try to find the canola. And if I do find the canola oil, then we will start it basically, over here and there. I think I actually put one too many, but again, this is not my final layout anyway. This is just our mid-game layout. Speaking of which, some people have been asking about blueprints. So I did share already some blueprints on my Discord community of those things over here in particular, or obviously these ones, right? But do stay tuned also for more videos on blueprints. I'm gonna try to do some dedicated videos on here are all of the stages that I suggest for a certain production. And don't hesitate, of course, to also tell me in the comments below if you have specific requests for different, blueprints. Moving on, I said one of the things we are missing for the snack is the plastic. Well, actually, we have just unlocked the plastic production over here. This is on the way, by the way, to the snack, so that makes sense. But yeah, we've just unlocked the plastic production over here. There's two ways to make it. One is with your naphtha, mainly from your diesel production, right? And another is the ethanol. Now, I know some people like to use ethanol because you can use it from farm, but I feel like we're making a lot of naphtha. So for me, this was easier to put it over here. And as you can see, we are actually already full because I haven't been using any, and this is a huge production. I put 4 of them. So again, this is a huge production because 4 of them times 36, and we're not gonna use that much, right? At some point we will start using a bit more here, but still this is only 2 for each of those productions. So definitely I think this is gonna be enough for a very, very long time. But yeah, we take, the naphtha. The naphtha is the same naphtha we are sending for our rubber over here, right? We send this naphtha. We also need a bit of chlorine, which is very easy to make with brine, right? And I already had tons of brine here. So that worked perfectly. We added those 3 electrolyzers there. It goes into this fluid storage just to tell me if it's empty, and then this is this pipe here. And in terms of exit, we have 2, a bit of exhaust, which I know I could have scrubbed, but for now I'm just sending it into the atmosphere, and then we have the output of plastic. So yeah, a great plastic production. I forgot to put a warning, so let's do this. And yeah, we now have plastic. I see we have also good reserve. We are low on this, and this is mainly because I have unlocked a 3rd layer for my electricity, because I was burning a bit too much over here, and this is creating pollution, right? So I wanted to start the 3rd one, but now we're low on coal. So what we're gonna do is we're going to now upgrade this. Because this is just not doing it enough. We're gonna upgrade it with those 2 here. So let's go. I think I have the unity. Perfect. There is a small belt there. We have also upgraded the coal mine here to go all the way to 288. So I'm hoping this will be enough, but again, the key thing is you also need to make sure you have more of these, or to upgrade some of these maybe to the next level. Well, let me maybe upgrade 1 so I can show you. So right now, right, we're talking about 3 people and a maximum throughput of 125. Now with this upgrade over here, this is going to increase. The storage is also going to increase. Right now we're talking about 250, right? So let's see how much this is gonna be now, so that we can have a bit of a higher throughput. So it's doubling, right, to 500, doubling also to 250, and it's just adding 1 more person. A bit more electricity and a bit more maintenance to them, I think. Let's check. Yeah, 0.3 maintenance. This is 0.45. So don't go crazy upgrading all of them when you don't need to. But in this case, I do actually think we need to, because as you can see, we're low on coal over here. It may be also that at some point I just need to have a 2nd belt, because this is limited to 200, or instead of a 2nd belt, we could say we're just going to have a higher level belt when we do upgrade, when we do get it. We don't have it yet. That's the problem. Speaking of coal and also of iron, you can see we have completely emptied our iron reserve that used to be there. And similarly for coal, we're not there yet, but almost, right? It's almost empty. That was fast, to be honest. I don't know how we spent that much, but this is why we have started over here, right? New production. We can see, by the way, that this is really the limiting factor right now. So we should either, build multiple of these, or what we can do is there is a bigger one. So this small one only costs 6 people. This one costs 30 people, but it will have a lot more of outputs. And I think also the throughput is different. Yeah, the throughput is 2,400 versus this throughput here is only 240. So it's 10 times bigger, right? So let's do a quick blueprint for it. We're gonna want probably to put it this side. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, all of the trucks are flooding there to put everything into this way bigger place, right? 2,400 instead of, again, a very 360 small, and it is already gone, right? It went super fast to go through it. Now it's coming out obviously at a rate that is a bit more limited, this one 200, and obviously those two 200 too. It's not perfect, but basically what I'm saying is I want a lot of reserves of iron here, and then I want you to put the dirt here and, you know, take it out. And I want you to take the rock there, take it out. Tell me if it ever gets full, because that's not good if it gets full, right? That's the point. Versus this one, do tell me if this one is below 50%, something like this, because that wouldn't be good. And then that means we can delete these there, you know, no reason to have two of them. It does take some people, some maintenance, etc. Beautiful building, right? Love it, love it. So that is good. We're gonna need to do the same for the coal there very soon, right? Because remember, we are also very low on coal over here. But that reminds me of something I wanted to show you just now, is I created a new path through the mountain there. Right? This used to be, you see the mountain, we have cut through it, made it flat for this level so that these people can go out, and similarly in the future when we get our coal here, also our wood there, right, we will be able to just go through this and then you are back here. And the key reason I did this is because we used to have, you know, a bridge. Our bridge used to be there to go up, right? Now I have destroyed it all. And my goal is honestly to destroy all of this. Right? I want to bring all of this to the same level. There's no reason to have multiple levels on this island. That's what terraforming is all about. So this is, you know, occupying a lot of my trucks. This is also why, by the way, we're consuming a lot of things, right? In terms of maintenance, etc. And this is how we are also refilling this. All of the dirt and stone that is here is just sand over there. So yeah, that was also some really great progress there to make sure this works. Okay, they're gonna empty this one, they're gonna send it here, I'm guessing. Yes, I'm just checking that everything is good, but yeah, it's looking fine, so all good there. Now for the copper, we used to have copper, we used to have steel and iron over here. Maybe let's start with the iron. You may remember I told you that we don't really need iron anymore. We're gonna use steel as much as possible, right, for everything. Speaking of which, I think we should unpause this, because this is a bit low there, but at least this one is full and this one has some reserves too, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But yeah, we need to increase my production of steel, and we can use steel for everything, right? We can use steel for my construction parts. We were already using steel for maintenance, but we do need a bit of iron just to be able to construct these, where are they? Over here. These retaining walls. They require some iron, and it's good to have a bit of iron somewhere. So what I did is I took out just one of those lines. You know, we had 8 lines here for the steel. I took one of them out and I made it into an iron one. So the first layer over here doesn't change at all, right? It's still creating molten iron, but then instead of transforming into molten steel, we just put directly, you know, 2 metal caster over here, 24 and 24, because we're making 38. And that means we're making 48 iron, basically, that just goes there. So that's what I did over here for the iron. Then for the steel, we were producing steel there, but we were already producing steel here, right? So the only thing we had to do was to make sure that the productions that were linked to the steel here could still work. We had 2 types of production. We had the maintenance, and we had over here this corner for, you know, the research and for my vehicle parts. We don't actually need any vehicle parts right now, right? Because we are actually completely kind of full on the number of vehicles, 200 out of 200. They've all been upgraded. No, we haven't upgraded those 3 harvesters, but that's okay, it's fine, right? All good there. So this one, basically what I did is we still have over here the mechanical parts and the electronics to make this work, but it's not linked anymore to the actual production, which is fine because, to be honest, if this stops for a minute, it's not the end of the world at all. On the other hand, the maintenance, you don't want the maintenance to stop, right? So we have connected the maintenance now over here. Last time I told you that, priority number one for my steel was to go here into this box, right? So now we're starting to use this box basically, and I'm gonna put it actually off. I don't want anybody to touch this box. They can touch that box potentially, but not this one. So this box shouldn't be touched. It should always be full, right? So we send all of this steel. We have a small bridge for my trucks, and then we've doubled our production of mechanical parts. We used to have 4 of these, now we have 8 of these. So with this, I was able to make, these 2 unit storage of mechanical parts full. And by the way, this is also why we've used all of our iron and a lot of coal, right? It's because I did this huge expansion here. Now we have tons of reserves of many things. But yeah, we're making a lot of mechanical parts. And then those mechanical parts, right, are going directly into maintenance depots. Similarly, we used to have 3, now I've built 4. That way we have still a lot more of, leeway before we need more. We do need another thing, which is the electronics, which is this new block over here, right? So we're gonna talk about this in a second, but first remember that we're also creating some recyclables. So we send the recyclables here. I did put one of these loose storage here, just in case, to tell me basically if it's full, that's a problem. And also so that if we have recyclables, for example, from over here, they can take them and bring them here easily. So that is good. And by the way, also those recyclables from here. And then we sort, right, the output into some broken glass, some copper scrap, and some iron scrap. So all this working there, I think not a problem. But yeah, the main thing was our copper. We used to have 4 blast furnace level 1 doing copper. Now we have 8 blast furnace level 2. 4 of them are paused, yes, but they've been all built. The whole thing has been built. Again, this costed a lot, but it's all built. I've also organized it a bit more efficiently, where we have really 2 blocks. We have the block of 4 like this, and then this block of 4 like that. And then they all go into this storage. So if we look at it, it's very similar to what we had on this side. Here, I basically copied it, but I reorganized small things. So here, obviously, instead of iron, this is copper. And then we transform the copper into copper crushed, right? Goes into this one. Here, instead of iron scrap, it's copper scrapped. Coal is the same. The difference is instead of using limestone, you need to use sand. So we have a sand one here. And then instead of having, the slag on this side here, I just put it in the back because I wanted the space for something else here. Then instead of having also 2 of these exhaust scrubber, we only have 1. Because while we still produce the same amount of exhaust on this line of 8, we don't actually produce any exhaust with the other buildings. Right? If you remember, for the steel, we also produce exhaust with the oxygen furnace. And in this one, we don't, right? We just transform this into impure copper, and then we add the acid to make it normal copper. So I have only 1 instead of 2. I put it in this side, just, to make it basically a rectangle. We have, the water that comes from this fluid storage, and also a bit from these 2 cooling towers. We have the output of CO2 that for now is over here. Output of sulfur, which later on I can also, if I want, belt there, which is why I've left a bit of space. We have, this in case this is full, then it's burnt. And we do need a bit of limestone for just this building there. So that's what you have over here with the acid, and then the outputs, right? I'd put in all of these. Now this is making 192. So we need 1 belt just for this block, and this is also making 192. So we need another, belt for that block. That's why you have 2 belts also for the output over here. And then what we're doing is I have 2 output belts for the iron, one is going into those 8 or 9. I don't remember if it's 8 or 9, but it's basically 200. I'm making 200 electronics per minute. That's the maximum we can put on this belt, right? So that's the idea here, making 200 of electronics per minute with one of these belts. And then we have a second output belt that will go over here, because in the future we will have other needs actually for copper, copper, which is the PCB and also the microchips. So this will be, you know, on the second line because it's less important, right? It's more important for me to have electronics so that then we can send the electronics to the maintenance depot. Now we could have also moved this whole thing. Let's actually check even in terms of space. You know, I can basically move it somewhere over here, let's say. We can definitely do that. Actually, maybe I will do it very soon, but I didn't do it for two reasons. The first one is, as I said just before, this is not as important. If it stops for a second, it's not the end of the world. And the second reason why I didn't do it is I know I'm soon going to have to upgrade these because we're gonna get right into the next level of research. We're gonna get also into the bigger vehicle parts, right? So we're gonna need to upgrade that, and that's why I didn't move it there. But at least now we have, if we want, a space here to either belt or use our trains to send the food from here to there, right? There's the space, there's the space. And we have also really kind of cleaned up our exhaust production, right? Because now the exhaust is scrubbed from this one and it's scrubbed also from that one. So the only exhaust we're still producing, you know, it's a bit over here, there's a bit of exhaust, and most of it is more here. That's gonna be the next place where I want to start getting exhaust out. By the way, we can see that indeed we're starting to have now good reserves of coal, but I think the problem is just this belt, right? This belt is not enough to keep up with the production on this side plus on that side. I mean, it is increasing back up, so maybe it is barely enough. Maybe it is barely enough. But yeah, here, this is one of my last big production of exhaust, you know, these burners and these burners. So I think we're gonna try to fix that in a second. My ship has been fixed. Yes, my ship has been fixed. So let's send it, try to find these. Oh, 610. Actually, we're gonna lose. No, we can't do that one. 430 we can do, but I don't think we're gonna find it there. This is water. 900 we definitely can't go. There's still obviously some more upgrades we're gonna have to do. Right, look over here. We have some more armor, some more engines, some more weapons. But we're not there yet, right? This is still pretty far for us. We first need to finish all of this here. I also do want to really show you that over here we've done some of those infinite research. It's infinite in the sense that you can do multiple levels. Like for the trains, we've done to level 3. For vehicles, we're at level 4. And every time we get less and less pollution, but also every time it costs more and more points. You know, this one was 2,900 points. This one is 3,900 points. When you compare to something like the plastic, which was not even 900 points, this is a huge time that it takes to do those ones. Of course, it makes sense. It makes sense. Oh, here it is. We did find the canola seed at the groundwater well over here. So that's great. We're going to be able to do now next that research. So we're going to take out this from the queue. Instead, let's add this one to it. So this way, you know, again, I'm going to create basically something. We may put it somewhere else actually, because as you can see, the canola, you can do only two things. You can do this or you can burn it. So it's not, you know, it may kind of create potentially a problem in my bus here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just add one farm here, which enables me to talk about quickly something else. Is if you look over here, this is not going to work. It says some ground is not farmable, and it's the ground in red that you can see over here, right? Because it's stone. It's not grass, it's stone. So how do you deal with that? Well, basically what you're going to do is you're just going to dig one level. You don't have to dig very deep. Just one level, if I remember correctly, is enough. Maybe they've changed it to 2, but in the past 1 was enough. So you dig one level, and it doesn't need to be 100% either. Like this small patch here should be fine. But if you want to be really clean, you know, you can do it. Like, let's do that and that. And while I'm at it, I think I made a bit of a like I went a bit too crazy here. Let's sort of clean a bit that piece so my trucks can pass there. This was the same thing I did before over there, right? I had created a block or a mountain, if you wish, of rock. Now I created a mountain of dirt here for this exact purpose. Because basically what we're going to do now is we're going to tell them, please dig this up, right? And when you finish digging it up, we're going to say, please drop only, like we're going to fill it back up, but only with this soil, right? With this dirt. That way it will become actually farmable, if you wish. So let me just take a couple of these guys here, do it quickly. Let's say 2. Go for it. That will be quick enough. And then in the meantime, oh no, we are not. I got scared that we were in battle, but no, we're not in battle. We're fine. Okay. So while this is happening, let me also finish on this side. I've actually already created the post here. It's linked for these 5 and here, but I haven't linked it yet to those ones here. So I'm gonna work on this, and then I'll show you when both this and that is finished. Here it is, ladies and gents. We've added just one right now, greenhouse with, you know, the soil under being fertile. We are now creating canola. To be precise, around 8 of canola per minute. So it's not gonna be enough for this one because you need 16, but that's gonna be enough for what we need right now. As you can see, we are, you know, transforming this canola into cooking oil and a bit of animal feed. So sending the animal feed back on my animal feed, you know, line. And then we send the canola over here, where we have a new, you know, block to make those snacks. We're going to use the corn. As I told you, this is better to use the corn. A bit of salt is coming from over here, a bit of plastic coming from over there, and that oil to make then the snack and some biomass. Now, the biomass you can transform into compost. It can potentially also be used for a boiler, but given the amount, like we're creating, you know, 3 when this is working at full speed, which I don't even think we need. So I'm just burning it. It's fine. A bit more pollution, but we're going to look at our pollution in a second, and you'll see that we have a lot less pollution than before. So yeah, we're starting to make some snack. So I'm going to be able to give it to my people. Let's go. Let's start this, and so we can see what the demand is going to be. We have also, you know, made a path here, so that's good. And more importantly, I have now over here those 2 exhaust scrubbers that are working fine. So this first exhaust scrubber over here is actually linked to this pipe, and this pipe is linked to all 5 of these. So we're talking about 60 times 5, so that's 300. And it's also linked, by the way, to those 4 over here, which is 24 times 4, it's less than 100. Right, so we're talking about less than 400, which is basically, you know, totally fine for one pipe level 3 and for one of these. And then the second of these ones is linked to a different pipe that goes all the way here to those 5 there. So we're talking again about 500, right? And this is really a lot of the black smoke I used to have over here. Like, we still have a bit of black smoke for the sulfur, but yeah, there's no more black smoke here, no more black smoke there, and no more black smoke over here. Instead, we replaced all of this, right, by just a bit of carbon dioxide, which still pollutes, but a lot less. So let's check that out, and we'll see that indeed air pollution, you know, it used to be sometimes at 20, now it's at 7. So that is really, really good. We have a health that is very positive. Let's actually even check, you know, here we can check pollution, and you will see that, you know, it's been, I've done it for a while, right? So it has already decreased for a while, but this used to be, let's go over here, 100 years, yes. So you can see it used to be sometimes even at 5,000 per year, or yeah, 5,000 per year. Now we're down to 1,000, 2,000 per year. So it's a lot lower. It's basically back to, you know, 100 years or more ago. If we look at max, we're still obviously way more than when we started, but it's going down. That's the important thing. Same for, you know, the water pollution, we put it to 0. The waste is basically at 0 too, right? the vehicle pollution has been slowly but surely increasing because we have more and more vehicles, right? And they consume also more. But this is something that we can also work on in the future. There are ways to decrease it. So it is, ladies and gents, and let's see if we have a bit. Yeah, we have a bit of snack that has arrived. Great. So we can see the demand over here is around 15, and this is before you make cake. So one of these, right, will totally be enough as long as it's working. And again, this is before you make cake. When you make cake, this is going to go even lower. These ones have also, yeah, all of these have also gone down because now some of my calories are taken by this food, right? So that's really good, and a bit more also of a unity. We don't get a bigger health bonus because you see there's no heart next to treats, right? These are treats, so they don't improve my health, but still, that is good. We are almost done with food. There's just one more. And then of course we are gonna have to do it in a more organized way, more optimized. You know, we can think about what is the best way also to make our animal feed. You know, these are not equal. Because for example, if we look again, like corn is easier to make than potatoes, and still potatoes is only giving 48, and animal feed is giving, and corn is giving 72, right? So there is definitely some optimization we can do over here, and as soon as our population continues to grow, of course, we're going to have to also grow this. But it feels like we're really in a good step on the food. We have also over here, by the way, my coal is back to being completely full, thanks to now the big one that we have. We could reduce the speed, potentially save a bit of fuel, but that's not the end of the world. And yeah, over here, you know, those two are working well. You can see we have full reserves of iron, and there's still a lot of iron in the ground. Same over here, we have a lot of coal, and there's a lot of coal. So this is really good. What wasn't so good, by the way, recently was the wood. My wood was a bit in trouble, but now what I've done is I've killed a couple of the excavators and I've replaced them by tree planters. So we now have a lot of tree planters over here. I don't know why this one... Oh, there's probably nowhere to plant, I guess. Oh, they could plant here, and we have... Oh, this is because we're a bit low on tree sampling. Okay, interesting. So let's look at this one. I mean, this one has... Oh, I know what's happening. Okay, let me fix it. So we're gonna need an output storage here. We're gonna say this is for the tree planters. So this one obviously will not be blocked. We need to be able, you know, to take some out. But at the same time, I don't want these guys to go get it. I want these guys to just get it from here. So what we're gonna say is that if you look at this, right, import and export. So on the storage is set to import from where? It's set to import from here, right? So that's good. And then what is set to export is there. Or no, did I make a mistake? Maybe what we can do is more take this one and say this should import from there. Why are you not working? Accept assign only, yes. Okay, now it's working. I think it was because of this thing, but now it should be fine. And no, you shouldn't be able to go there. Why are you going there? Maybe it's just they went there before I started the import routes. We can check that very soon. So we want to make sure also this is not empty anytime soon. And we may want to upgrade this further. Yeah, let's go upgrade it. That will make just a bit more. I have the population and I want to make sure that my wood goes back, you know, to full, because it definitely is not. And the other thing we need to keep an eye on is the glass. And this one I think is just, you know, we're getting to the maximum. Like we only have 2 of these, right? Making basically 24. That's not that much. I think that's just what's happening. This is not big enough. And this is still, you know, level 1 blast furnace. So that makes sense. But everything else around here seems to be working fine. We have a lot of reserves, you know, of these here too. A lot of reserves, including even that one is full now. So I'm happy here. I think we made a lot of great progress today, ladies and gents. We have now great copper production. We have a lot less of pollution. We have one more food. We have finish to empty or to fill this hole. Finish also with that one. There is still definitely a lot here that we could do in terms of terraforming, but more importantly, this is now, time probably for us start moving to some of the new research like gold over here. You can check that import good. We have the silicon, so that's gonna be a big one, and then get us to the construction part over here. So I know we haven't advanced that much in the research tree in the last 2 episodes, but I think now we're gonna really restart and that we have some strong foundation. Thank you for watching, smash like button, do tell me in the comments below if you have any questions, and I hope to see you next time.